So you probably wonder why this list is at the odd number 7, right? Did you know that the number 7 is apparently a highly spiritual number associated with intuition, mysticism, inner wisdom, and a deep inward knowing? Why would this list be precisely 7 things and not 6 or 8? Could it be a conspiracy theory? Nah, I'm just kidding. I couldn't think of any more stuff. I wanted to do my first ever discussion video, and what better topic than things that I want to see eventually in the game. I suspect that for some of the things on this list, possibly there will be people who will eventually hate me, but nevertheless it must be said. Note that the list is not going from top to bottom or vice versa. All the points are relevant and are not ordered according to importance. You will find out during my discussion that all of the points I have listed are intertwined with each other in one way or another. Disclaimer: even if you disagree with my list, let me first mention that all of the things listed are my personal opinion and wishes. I do not speak for the villagers and heroes community, nor act as their representative. I could, however, throw my application into the ring so the others know that I'm all on board to help out with the implementation of the following ideas. With that said, let me explain. The reason why I put this first is because of the fabled rebirth system in the game. For those of you who don't know, you can rebirth your character 5 times in total. Which is all fine and dandy, but consider that the level cap is going to be increased with the new expansion, and that's more grind for you to do. Rebirthing gets you back to level 1, and yes, this does bring some replayability, but overall I believe that the leveling experience can be enhanced. The new expansion does bring new starting areas and other perks, which is a step in the right direction, but there should be some other stuff for you to do. I realize that people will tell me, but Ralther, you can take care of your farm, you can craft, you can bounty hunt bosses, and I agree. You can do all that, but what if I don't care about the farm or the crafting or run around zones doing bounty hunting? There has to be more systems for you to tackle during leveling so it keeps you engaged with the content. When you think about it, besides questing and achievements, there isn't anything that you do different when you rebirth. But think about collecting something, and no, I don't mean Zogs. Think about participating in events, and no, again, I don't mean player-made, but NPC ones. Think about contributing to a faction, ranking with it in a sense, and opening further possibilities to shape your character. Think about choosing a faction down the road. Think about other ways to enhance your playthroughs. There are countless of possibilities waiting to be explored and implemented. Because otherwise, it is just rushing through a content you already completed so you can do that again after further 15 levels. You will get bored even if you skip the side quests and do only the main quest storyline as you already went through it. Rinse and repeat only works with MOBA style games. And in such MMOs as Villagers and Heroes, there has to be more to do to engage players. Some people may say, hey, I don't have a problem going back and doing the same thing over and over. Okay, you and the other 2% of the gaming world are okay with returning and doing everything again, but most people need variety. Gaming and everything in general nowadays is a lot like the ancient Juvenal said. Give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. I give Wizard 101 as an example many times because it just provides a lot to do while leveling. It's not just the main storyline, but also you get pets, purchase cards or other stuffs to enhance your character, and I realize that is tied to the specific combat system, but there are also mini-games. Which brings me to that topic exactly. Not kidding, by the way, mini-games can go a long way. They can really take your mind off whatever you're already bored of doing. If they're implemented properly, like playing them actually giving you perks for other systems like crafting, leveling, etc., that will give incentives for people to tackle that type of content in the game. And yes, I know about the dude playing rock paper scissors in Arden City, where you gamble gold, but I mean more than that. More than just a simple button. I mean actual minigame which you play in-game. I do not talk about a whole new integrated flash player or something. Minigames can just be a different set of view of your character, for example. Imagine a maze where the camera changes position and you no longer see your character from behind but from above, trying to figure out the maze like a rat. This could really enhance playability, and just the fact that such a system may be in the game is enough to intrigue people to try it. Or a minigame where your character cannot move, camera changes to the back of your shoulder, and a crosshair shows up on screen where you try to hit something with a ball and earn points. Whatever! The possibilities are endless. It's just a way to bring more to the game, and with just changing some camera positions and locking specific player movement, easy! That doesn't even have to be hard-coded into the game, it can just be done with a bunch of triggers and simple particle effects. I remember back in the day when one of my teachers told me the KISS method. Keep it simply stupid, he said. And that stuck with me till today. Less is more, you know? You don't need a fancy gaming system that you spend years to develop. Sometimes the simplest of things are the most engaging and entertaining. And going back to Wizard 101, just look at how the game style, graphics, gameplay elements are a lot like Villagers and Heroes. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not AAA massive explosions, large quantities of programming code running in the background, etc. And to the people saying, Wizard 101 is a different game, Villagers and Heroes is a different game, and we're not aiming to make a clone. Yeah, I got that, but if you can develop a new system from the ground up that nobody has ever seen in the gaming world, then by all means give your ideas in the comments below. How many MMOs are WoW clones? This type of argument is invalid unless it's a 100% clone bringing nothing new to the table. You have to learn how to follow before you can lead. But Villagers and Heroes having their own minigames that can resonate across the gaming market as the only game where you can actually find them in? That sounds awesome. And ladders implemented in those minigames is just a healthy dose of competition. There we go. And yes, I said it. Competition is not a bad word. I'm going on a limb here, as this is a system that I came up with last week and I got some ideas from the Garrisons in WoW, but it stuck with me as I added additional gameplay elements and I decided to share it with you guys, so bear with me. So think about all the classes in game. We have warriors, mages, priests, hunters, and soon shaman. I know this will probably bring some negative opinions as it's not fully fleshed out mechanic yet, but hear me out. So each class in the game can represent its own garrison of troops. In the form of dailies or other types of activities, they will provide you with certain quests like scavenger hunts, fetch and retrieve quests, or location tracking X marks the spot quests. All of these will grant you experience with the selected garrison and specific buffs to your character. Apart from that, you also contribute to the main warfront army, which battles the armies of the big baddies in the game, which can further provide you with endless amount of stuff you receive as rewards, specialized shops and items, vanity items and whatnot. Having points invested in the main warfront army, you basically upgrade their gear, buildings, production value, etc. I think this is a very good time sink that is also rewarding. A full PvE system that can give you countless of playtime hours if implemented properly. I haven't decided if I like an instance version for each individual more, or server-wide for everyone to contribute, but it does sound good to me. In fact, if it's server-wide, that makes players grind for a singular goal that benefits all players. It can reset in a specific time period, or you can unlock specific areas or battlefronts on the map where you can send out troops. Sending out troops can be by popular vote across the server. If there are enough incentives for people to do that type of content, and if it's tied properly with the rest of the content in-game, it will be a very much needed mechanic to further bring more to the table in terms of leveling experience and endgame content. I can already see people who want to be heroes contributing to the system, but that also can benefit to villagers as well. Once armies are returning from a successful march, they can bring the spoils of war, which can be just ingredients for crafting, coin, experience, etc., to a massive pool which gets divided among all players that contributed to the main war effort. Or, if I get into more imaginative mode, I can think of server-wide fireworks in the sky when the warfront army wins a massive battle for the forces of the light. You can even see a platoon of the army returning from battle in some of the zones, for example, and when they pass through the portal, they're gone. You know, just as an aesthetic. Also, dedicating a massive win to one of the paragons, the legendary 4, for example, can grant you a specific buff for 24 hours depending on your class. So how about that? I get so hyped just thinking about that system. It can have multitude of implementations and integrations with other systems as well. Endgame.
We're in the endgame now.
We get to the part where Endgame is a long-term discussion topic. At the moment there is not much to do with Endgame, let's be honest. Combining villaging activities with hero activities is all good, but what happens if a player doesn't want to tackle villaging activities? He can't just run bosses in 1-2 dungeons all the time. He needs more on the plate for that type of content. Same goes for villagers, although the rest of the systems I'm going to talk about later on are catering to them more. For endgame content, there has to be more to do, like more dungeons, further upgrades on the bounty system, raids, reasons to return to old areas and more. Which reminds me of WoW and Diablo. Some may argue it's a stupid system, but I like how they tied bounty system with rewards and running around different areas around the world, randomly generated in your bounty hunt GUI, telling you where to go, what to kill, and doing 5 of them granting you a chest or whatever. I don't mean copying the system, I mean that this can increase player retention, because of the fact there's more to do and newer players just see maxed out characters running around low level areas. Oh, and I just thought of a new system. How about mirrored clashing? Yeah, I just thought of that. Stupid? Maybe. Who cares if it works? A system that can be implemented for not just endgame, but for all levels too. What mirrored clashing is, for example, you go alone, or as a group in an arena, to fight, and it matches you with other players just the same class as you to battle, or in case there is nobody in the queue, to match you with a random bot or an NPC of the same class. This is something that I came up with from the top of my head. Or how about add specific storylines that branch out after you get to endgame, giving you choices how you wish to proceed with the story. Instanced or not, there are ways to implement for both ways. If you can think of other activities, put them in the comment section. And now we give more love to the villaging activities. A proper housing system is something that is being discussed for a while now. There are lots of different assets and meshes into the game, like trees, branches, torches, bricks, walls, whatever. So if that is put into the game for people to operate with in their own homes, it would be awesome. How about decorate your own home the way you like it? Putting your hard-earned prizes there, or showing your pets in a kennel. Inviting other players to check how you created the surroundings and have tea parties or heavy metal concerts or whatnot. There is a lot to do here. Invited players can contribute to your house and gift you specific items, which brings in more to play with. I can already see the plethora of stuff you can do with such a system. Decorate your own place inside and out, purchase more styles for your house, purchase additional segments to mix and match, and differentiate from other players in your village. Sounds awesome! Or we can go even harder here. How about an idea that you set the tone of your house? Like I said, tea parties or heavy metal earlier? Let's roll with tea parties. You set the tone for your house, and whenever a player joins in your house, he's automatically put in a dress that he cannot remove unless he exits the premises. And since you selected Tea Party event, there are particle effects like rose petals flying around and classical music playing in the background. Easy! Absolutely easy implementation that just brings more to the game and roleplay. I'm not going to go into too much length here, as I'm leaving this to your imagination, but it would be awesome to have such a thing in-game besides a house that acts as a vault for your things. Am I wrong? Remember Lotro? Remember that game? It was hell of a fun to play with music, I can tell you that. You could purchase an instrument and then play whatever tones you wanted with your keyboard. And the cherry was the fact that you could download a specific music sheet composed by professionals online, put it into a specific folder, log in the game, and with a simple / command you could hear amazing music from Beethoven, Star Wars, Lords of the Rings, etc. rendered in-game. It was just beautiful. There were whole guilds that acted as an orchestra and doing shows around the in-game world. Amazing! Again, people will try to crucify me for bringing that as an idea into Villagers and Heroes, but it's not that outrageous an idea as you make it out to be. It's just more to do. A lot of players in other MMOs, when bored, just take out an instrument and start playing music just because they can. Some people flock around them to listen and just chat. So there we go! Another social aspect of the game and bringing more livelihood in an otherwise quiet setting. I would love to see that in game, honestly. Not that I'm an avid music player, just because it can't be in there, you know? Some players will not touch player-made music, or housing, or minigames, or whatever other system ever. But just the fact that it is in the game is enough to make the whole game world feel more complete. Have that sweet feeling like a cupcake. You just know it's there, you just haven't taken a big bite yet. So what I'm trying to get at is that the more there is to do in the game, the more people know that there are possibilities they haven't yet tried, giving them a sense of mystery. Otherwise, if those systems are not present in the first place, people get easily discouraged. And yes, I know there are veterans here again thinking about clubbing me down to death, but think on everything I covered so far. It does make sense. And no, it will not take away the Villagers and Heroes vibe from the game either. It will just enhance it.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Okay, calm down. Don't kill me, seriously. I know that PvP is a heavy topic that is frowned upon. People run away from it or attack it head on, battle raging since the dawn of time between supporters and naysayers, and even fabled Jedi Knights could not help out to untangle this great mystery of a topic. Although I'm no Yoda, I will have to go all out here and say what had been stuck on my mind for a while now. PvP is a great thing to have in a game. And that's no joke. Healthy competition is no joke. A lot of players are against its implementation just because they're fed up of poor designs from other MMOs and griefers running around low-level areas. It's the poor design which drove you to think that a PvP in Villagers and Heroes will bring the apocalypse and the sky will fall down on our heads. Think of good PvP implementation. Think of a healthy competition. Think of a PvP availability without the toxicity. And no, it's not impossible. It's just hard. It has to be fully fleshed out mechanic that just adds to the flavor of the game and not hampering it. I realize most veterans in the game are used to this game not having PvP, so they're 100% against it, afraid that it may not be Villagers and Heroes anymore, or how it may break the whole community, balancing issues, etc. There are plenty of ways for you to keep your tight community intact without toxicity, without people bragging how awesome they are in PvP or telling you how you should 1v1 them so they can prove to you that they're better. Plenty of ways, hands down. Precisely because the game is called Villagers and Heroes and there are two separate worlds for you to be in is why this game needs PvP. Because it can cater to both player bases without forcing you to go down the PvP path in the first place. Literally so many ways to implement. Why are you so hell-bent on strictly no PvP in Villagers and Heroes? Why are you giving the stop sign on an otherwise good system integration? I realize your fears, but they're uncalled for considering one simple thing. For you to play that long, being faithful to the game, to the others, etc., you already know how they are doing things. You know how they work, you know the effort they put in the game and fleshing out the world. So are you really that scared of a proper author PvP integration, or are you in full denial about PvP in general? Because let me tell you that a good PvP integration will not only increase player count, but player retention in general. You may disagree, and it's your right, but staying with the old beliefs that a game needs to stay exactly as it was created, not being bold and trying out new things, is dooming it to be obscure. Which brings me to the point of how many websites, gaming news portals, ads and whatnot are oblivious about the game. Do you know how many years have gone by without a single news article or an update on said news portals? Ever since release. And that's way too much for any title. Just too much. I have asked admins of other pages to write their reviews, to update their pages, etc. and nobody even replied back. So I took the matter into my own hands, wrote my own reviews, doing this YouTube thing, just trying to help the game out. I'm not meddling my nose into other people's business, and if I get an official author request to stop advertising the game to potential players, I will. But if people are aiming not to bring PvP into the mix, it's just a bottleneck for new blood. You know, new people keeping the game fresh and alive. Because let's face it, you may be a veteran, you may be a new player, but all of you can't deny that PvP is the current trend. And it doesn't show that it will be over anytime soon. Just look at how auto chess is going to take over the gaming world, just like Dota did so many years ago. And I know you will say, but we don't need that. And again, it's your opinion. I am just expressing what us people who are not strict PvPers, yet enjoy just having the option to do it, if we want to, have as an opinion about PvP. I mean, yeah, you can stay with the current community, which is amazing, not saying otherwise, but at one point people will start to dwindle. Real life comes first, or another title pops up. For a moment here, I want to talk about EVE Online. Awesome game, but too complex. And yet people in-game are searching for a way to discuss possibility with devs and help out new players with various of ways so they can bring new bloods into the game and keep it alive and fresh. Isn't that what's the core of everything in life? Progress? So stop being against it and just think for a moment that properly implemented PvP with a healthy competition is actually not that scary subject. In fact, hindering the game to progress in its tracks is what those types of opinions do. They do not help much, to be honest. Being scared of being bold is not helping anyone in all aspects of life, not just gaming. So give a chance to this game to pop back into the gaming scene, so we can stop letting other mediocre titles take the lead and grabbing the attention of the large player base. And as a bonus point, I would say server merges. Yeah, I think a server merge here and there won't be a bad call. It's your call. I'm just expressing my own beliefs and needs for the game just like you do. So sayers and naysayers, I'll see you in the next one.